So, if you're here, you're probably here either because you saw this video on YouTube and got recommended to you, or you've been directed from this video from another video that I've made talking about puzzles. This is my multiple map trick, and I use the front and back features of I think any VTT can do this, but specifically I've done this within Roll20 in order to get multiple maps. Now, why would you want multiple maps on the same map? Maybe you have some sort of variance that is going on or some changes in the map that you want to visually show to your players. You can use this trick in order to do it. So what is the basis of this trick? Well, the basis of this trick is if you have any image that you have multiple instances of, you can have that image work by having multiple maps of that image, but each map is peering out in a different direction. So we have the red peering out in this direction, orange peers out in this way, yellow, and then green. And what this allows you to do is by having the image peek out in every direction, you will have access to the image in every direction. Now, when it comes to actual polygons that you make in Roll20, Roll20 has a hard time, but you can click on this corner, bring this to front, and this will bring the entire image to front. And you can do that across multiple different pages, across multiple different maps, so that you can have the map swap without needing to swap the page. I'll show you an example with an actual map. Here I have a map that has 5 different variances, and I've color coded each one of the variances, and you can see that the variances all stick out a little portion. So I can move this to front and it'll change the entire map to red. Move this to front, it'll change the entire map to orange, and so on and so forth. So I can access all of the images that I need to access and change all of the maps. And how does this look without the actual color thingy going down? Well, it looks like this. Right now I have, for context, this is a puzzle where they had to tilt the gravity in the room in order for them to move this pearl across this rail. But the catch was that as they tilted the gravity in the room, if they tilted it a certain way, the water would also move the same way. And if the pearl came in contact with the water, it wouldn't move along the rail anymore because it floats. This is the map in neutral. And as they tilted the room in different directions, I was able to visually show them that the water around the room was moving, which gave them an indication to the mechanic that they had to deal with. There was a lot more to this puzzle, but this was the basis of how the puzzle worked, and an example of why you would want to use a multiple map trick in order to visually entice your players to understand what's going on. There really isn't any limit to how many maps you can put on the screen. Every time you start out with a individual layer, you can start out with just 4 layers of maps, which requires 1 extra square of space. And for every extra square of space, you will get an extra 4 layers of maps. So as you can see, I have 2 squares of space here, 1, 2, extending out from the actual map, instead of the 1 square of space that extends here from the actual map. So in this one, I had 5 different changes. So I had 2 extra squares of space, and I had labeled each one of the maps accordingly so that they could be appropriately organized and I could get to them easily. Now, let's talk about the setup for this. This is some unused content that was actually like kind of the beta content for a dungeon that I ran for my players a couple of months ago, years ago. In this particular dungeon, they were supposed to be controlling the flow of lava. And depending on how they tilted the room, the lava flow would change and they would need to stand in different spots during battle in order for them to not get burned. And as you can see, there are, I think, 7 different variances for this map. Technically 8 if you count the version that doesn't have any lava. So what we're going to do is we're just going to export this. We will open this in a editor. And it can be any art editor. For me, I use the original Autodesk sketchbook from way back when. I still have the original file, and I never did any of the updates, so thank God. Hopefully they don't catch me. And then we're gonna go to image size. I mean, not image size, canvas size. Now, this is how I'm doing it in Autodesk sketchbook. You can do this in Paint, honestly. And all you need to do is change the height and the width of the image. I'm only going to do this with 2 images. Well, actually, I should do this with 3 images, because if you did it with 2, you could just do front and back. Anyway, I'll do it with 3 images. We know in Roll20 that we have 70 pixels per square. So if we're going to need to show 3 maps, we're going to need 1 extra layer, which is 1 extra square, which is an extra 70 pixels. So I'm going to add 70 pixels here. And I'm going to add 70 pixels here. And I'm doing it in the top right direction here. Hit OK. And we will save this image. We'll go back to the editor. Click on this room, add the content. We'll say they're moving the lava to the east. And I want this version of the image to show up on the lower right-hand corner. So I'm going to add the extra pixels to the lower right-hand corner. And I usually do like to have a little bit of an indicator. Again, I'm using a mouse for this right now, so you don't even need a pen and stylus. You just need that's not it. Let's add E, because it's moving to the east. And then we'll have the south version for it too. Why not? We'll do it in the southwest corner. We'll put S. That S reminds me of the cool S that everybody made in middle school. So I'm going to upload all of these to Roll20. The original size for this map was 29 by 29. So we're going to do that. We're going to have it be 29 by 29. But then, of course, we're going to add our extra layer, our extra width, and our extra height, which goes in both directions. Extra width on left and right, so we add 2. Extra height on top and bottom, so we add 2. Now I'm going to throw all the pictures in here. I'm trying so hard not to have spoilers for my game. I turned up the grid opacity here so that it can be easier to see. And going off what we had before, this portion right here, yep, right there, would be our actual map layer. And the side of the map layer would be what we use in order to change the maps. So we're going to go back to the map layer. We know that this map has its extra piece in the upper right-hand corner, so we'll put it touching the lower right-hand corner and expand it up to the upper right-hand corner, and boom, it's in the perfect spot. We know that this map has its extra piece in the lower right-hand corner, so we'll expand it accordingly. If I can grab the expansion. Gimme, thank you. And now our little E shows up right here. And we know exactly what we're going to be doing when we hit the E. And then, boom, we have our little S right here in the lower left-hand corner. So I know that this map here, if I bring it to front, provided I can see, will change to this. This will change to this. And this will change to this. And again, with every extra layer that you can add 4 more maps. So you can go up to 12, you can go up to 16, you can go up to 20. I say you stop at 16, because once you hit 16, the game starts to really, really slow down. There was only 1 instance, maybe 2, where I had puzzles that needed 16 maps on top of each other that were really hard to load. And keep in mind your player's computer and whatever they have access to too, because they have to load all of this images and everything as well themselves. So yeah, that's the multiple map trick, and it is something that I will be using for puzzles in the future. If you like, please drop a like, follow for the puzzles in the future, and in the comments tell me any tricks that you guys have in Roll20 or any VTT, or maybe there's an easier way to do this in a different VTT. Maybe I'm trying too hard. You guys have a good rest of your day, and thanks for watching.